G'day folks, Tony again here for more Star Control 2. The Sol system is where we are heading, dear viewers. We have our autopilot set to head back to planet Earth, even though we have one cargo container that still has a bit of space in it. We're also starting to run short on fuel. And we're also running rather low on crew, so it's probably a wise choice for us to bravely make our way back, presumably sell just a shit ton of stuff, get a bunch of money, and be able to do something with that money to upgrade our ship for further adventures. We have spent a considerable amount of time zipping around and looking at planets and doing a lot of the same sorts of things. Scanning planetary surfaces and landing on said planets and so on and so on. As I have said a number of times, this is a game from the early 90s. The pacing is a little different, but I've got a bit of a hankering to set out on a bold adventure. It may be a bit of a reckless cause, but possibly it'll be interesting at the very least. Let's have a chat to the Starbase commander. I hope the battle fares well, Captain Clapton. Well, it could be better. Let's say we have some minerals to offload. The Dank's cargo manifest lists that stuff, that stuff, that stuff, that stuff, that stuff, this stuff, these things, those things, and there we have it. We've got about 11,000 resource units, so that's nice to know. Fare thee well, Commander. Goodbye, Captain Clapton. Thank you very much. Let's get ourselves into the business end of things. We're going to actually just let me think about this. While we are in a position where we can potentially move that that fuel pod at the back, I think we might do that now, because that's going to be a spot where we can put some lasery lasers and the crew pod that we can remove as well. Good times. We might also remove that. Okay, so now that we've sold those things off, we can grab ourselves that storage bay. We're going to put it all the way here at the front. We're going to get ourselves another couple of planet landers. We've already got all of those. We've already got all of those. We do need another crew pod because we just ditched one, so we'll slap that there. We'll get that fuel tank and we'll pop it back here again. And these iron bolt guns are part of the things that we're going to want. So we're going to... should we buy a fusion blaster? I'm not sure that we should at this exact moment. Let's see how many other things we can get here. Going to do a little bit of shuffling of things around, but we do need to make sure that we're not... We do need to make sure that we're not leaving too few materials to sell other things. So we're going to want a dynamo unit because it's going to allow us to recharge our ourselves a little bit. So we'll slap one of those in there. I'm also thinking we might want to grab another fuel tank, because while we can buy fuel from the Melnorm, we actually need some credits with them to be able to do so, and we don't have that right now. So let's grab this here, and we'll move things around a little bit. We'll stick the crew pod there. I like keeping things together because I have CDO, which is like OCD, but with all of the letters arranged in correct alphabetical order. So we've got tons of fuel here now. And it might actually be worth getting another dynamo unit so that we can recharge those things a little bit more. So now every single slot that we have is actually full. We're still primarily cargo based, but I think we can handle that at the moment. We're going to want to stock up on our fuel, so let's do that. We're going to be able to take a lot more fuel than we could before, so we're going to fill all the way up to 110, which is where we're at previously. Then we're going to back out of here. We're going to go to our shipyard, and we are going to crew up a little bit because we certainly need a substantial increase in the number of crew members, because we've lost a fair number of them. So all the way up to 100 there, that leaves us with 1,600. And if I recall correctly, an Earthling cruiser is 1,100. It is. I'm not sure that we actually want to spend that right at this moment. So we're going to go back here. We're going to grab some more fuel because we are planning on going on a bit of a journey. So crank all this all the way up to 160. That leaves us with 605 resource units. And we may leave it at that. We're going to save the game because I think it's time for us to go on a little bit of a longer journey to try and progress some of the missions and some of the alien narratives in the game. All right. Speaking of which, let's depart from the starbase. We're going to open up our star map, and we traveled to Rigel, I believe it was, where we were given, where we met the Zokfot Pick, who we can see all the way up here. That is a fair way away, and we have a substantial amount of Sparthy space to get through here. Now, at the moment, if we end up fighting the Sparthy, as you may recall, it doesn't go terribly well for us. So I don't really want to barge right through the middle of it, because that would probably be unwise. So maybe we can plot a path to try and go around the side of it. So we can head over this way and try and work our way around here to get up to the Zokfot Pick. Or if we go in the other direction, there are a lot more stars over here, and I'm less inclined to go this way because all those stars are probably going to tempt me to get distracted and end up doing all of the things that we're trying to avoid, which is endless planet scanning and so on. So how about we try heading over this way to Delta Virginis, because that's one star system to look at. And then maybe we can have a look at a couple more of these ones here, and then maybe try and make the long haul around the top side of things here and into Zokfot Pick space. Now this may go horribly wrong, maybe a terrible mistake, but I'm hoping it will be an interesting terrible mistake if that is the case. Pardon me. All right, so we have empty storage bays. We have a full tank of fuel. We have a full crew complement, and we have a kind of flimsy, but at least some form of fleet, comprised of the Earthling cruisers and the Pekunk ships, which I can't remember the name of. And now that we're flying through hyperspace, I'm sure that this is a significant amount of space-time that we're traveling through here. But in terms of this video, it's going to require me to vamp a little bit and more or less fill your ears with nonsense. It doesn't really mean anything because it is a fairly long way. Look at that. There's a dot on the screen following us, and we seem to be outrunning it slightly. So isn't that interesting? But at some point, we're going to reach the star system whose name I can't remember, but I think it was Delta Virginis. And when we're there, hopefully it will be overflowing with awesome. I mean, that's not terrible, so I'm going to count that as a win. That is possibly a golden planet there, which, if I recall correctly, could be good news for us and our collectinating. All right. Let's see how we have fared. Class 4 tectonics, not wonderful. That is also probably not worth our time and effort, and there doesn't seem to be anything funky there. So, oops, so no thank you. Where can we go next? Aforementioned gold planet of splendor. Is it going to be, whoops, is it going to be a treasure world? Is it going to be a urea world? Is it going to be something else entirely? Let's find out. This is looking promising. A plutonic world. What does that mean? It means it's got some stuff on it, but it ain't particularly funky. I don't... Ooh, some biologicals. That might make it all worthwhile. Oh, but with Class 3 weather and Class 4 tectonics, it could be a bad time. Let's brave this somewhat, because it would be nice to have some things to give the Melnorm in trade. Oh, that's right, we can move super fast now, I forgot. All those things look interesting. They seem to be running away from us, though. They're not actually attacking us. So I guess that's maybe promising? Ow! Keep getting hit by lightning, which I'm sort of calling bullshit on, but... Okay, and it also doesn't look like these things are actually hitting us. So that that kind of changes things, doesn't it? Oh, come on. We did it! Alright, so yes, there is some stuff happening here. With bad weather and what have you. Whoa, that was a bit much. But other than some fairly survivable attrition of human beings, I think we're probably okay to just do some collecting and some shooting here. We've come all this way, and this seems to be a relatively benign set of critters. They're not doing any damage to us when we run over the top of them, and yet somehow I'm still incapable of shooting them. Very glad that there aren't... Ow! I'm very glad that... Good grief. That there aren't fire trails here. I do not like them in any way. And we had a full batch of stuff there, but I mainly ran away because we're just having people just being killed left, right, and center by lightning here. Not fun, no. That is... Wow, we're really losing people, aren't we? We might leave it there. We got a little bit of stuff. It's better than nothing. But we've also lost 30% of our crew. Classic. Alright. Inwards here towards this planet with an orange orbit track. So maybe that doesn't bode well. But another golden moon around it. Interesting. What have you got for us, Moon? Not much if you're a Urea world. It doesn't look terribly fun. Class 8 weather. Ugh. Nope. And the planet itself. Also, a terrifying nightmare of weather and other things. So that is another nope. So a little bit of a flunk out here. But we still have one more planet to look at. Am I going to zip right past it? Nearly. Could this one have some moons too? That's why you tune in, folks, for the rhetorical questions. Acid world, that sounds promising. Only Class 2 tectonics, so I think it's safe to land on an acid world. Delicious. Formic acid. More formic acid, phosphoric acid, all the acids. Hydrochloric acid. We're playing all the hits here. On Planet 3 of Delta Virginis. On our protracted journey to speak to the Zokvot pick, which I'm sure is going to work out just fine, thank you. All right, we did it. Seeing as we're about to zip off on another long leg of our journey, we're going to save the game here so that if we need to cut our losses, we can at least cut them back to here instead of the very start of the journey. Yay. All right, Starmap. Where to next? I guess we could try and zip through Sparthy space, but I would just like to get to where we're going. So let's try and just skim the edge of it there, and we'll see if anything is going to harass us along the way. So back in the day when I originally played this, trying to keep track of exactly what was what and where I'd been and who I'd talked to and so on meant having a notebook next to me and just keeping a ton of notes about various things. I suppose I could be doing that right now, but I beg your pardon. But right now, what I'm really interested in doing is trying to approach playing this game in a similar fashion to how I might play a modern game of 2018, where the game would track a huge number of things for us and mark things on maps for us in terms of where we've been and what we've done and how successful things have been. Kind of the Ubisoft UI explosion approach. I'm glad the game doesn't have it, but I'm also not going to go through all of the hard work of keeping painstaking notes because it is just a huge time sink, which back in the early 90s was very much welcomed because there was no internet and video games were something that you bought off of a shelf and then spent a long time installing from discs. I believe this was even pre-CD-ROM. So it would probably have been 3.5-inch floppy disks, or perhaps 5.25-inch floppy disks. It would have been around about on the cusp of that transition. There's some fun things for you to Google and look up on Wikipedia if that is well before your time. I'm sure you'll find it utterly fascinating. So no energy, some biologicals. There's some real bad tectonics happening on this planet though, so I think we're going to give it a miss. And there's only the one planet in here, so where else can we go? There's Beta Capricorni and Gamma Capricorni. Let's get a Gamma first, because why not? So Gamma, then Beta, and then there's very little in between us and the Zok-Fot pick. We haven't seen a huge number of shadowy pips moving around in hyperspace chasing us. But I guess that could change at any moment. And who knows what that thing following us is. Whoever they are, they have been following us for an awfully long time. Could they be Slylandro? I guess that is possible. Some extra resource units wouldn't be unwelcome, but at the cost of losing crew could be a problem for our long haul. All right, not really much happening here. We're going to ignore that one too. At some point, it would be super nice to find a rainbow world, but I guess the game can't hear us asking nicely. All right, so we're going to be doubling back a little bit here, heading back in the other direction. It's possible that whatever this thing is may catch us and encounter us. So seeing as we've come all this way, let's just save over the top of that thing. So that we don't have to sit through all the travel again. Let's do it. What's going to happen? It's just going to zip around behind us, and we are going to have that encounter when we exit the system. Very good. But a number of things for us to explore in the meantime. Happy trails. All right. Class 5 tectonics means probably not. No energy signatures to pique our interest. So that's another scrub planet. Green. Green is for good. Surely this sparkling gem of a planet floating in deep space will be the answer to all of our desires. This alkali world, the opposite of acid. But that is also just a terrible, terrible find. So obviously, with all of the solar systems that you can see in the star map and all of the planets that they contain and the potential moons and yada yada yada, you can't have them all be awesome. But in any sort of game like this, I am curious about tinkering with the distribution of groovy things. This one here doesn't look too bad. Probably worth a duck down to the surface. Oh, most certainly if there are biologicals Although, if they're hostile, maybe we'll just run away. Whoa, some of them are moving mighty fast. Some of them, of course, completely stationary. Let's find out how bad they are. I think these ones... fast moving, but possibly not a problem for us. Ow, or I could be wrong. So they are things that are going to damage us. So I'm going to say that one isn't worth it at this stage. There are so many planets that we can harvest goodies from. This isn't a game about land on every world and mine every resource. There are many ways to progress. Ooh, nice. So a little piece of exotic matter on this nice, placid, pellucid world. So that's an easy win for us. More so crystals. Yummy. The red moon. Radioactives. This also looks like a definite win. These ones have always been good to collect stuff on, which is amusing. When you see the word radioactive world, possibly the first thing that you think isn't, oh boy, I can't wait to land on this totally safe place and collect all the things. It is mighty nice to have this double-speed landing craft. And I'm starting to become a little more used to the steering as well, which is always a nice thing. And then, of course, I make a goose of myself by missing the last one. But it is allowing us to move through this at a reasonable clip. Copper world. What could a copper world contain? Let's find out if all of these are copper. I don't hear any fire, so that's good. Yep, just like it said on the tin. Okay, and one remaining planet here in Beta Capricorni. This little dinky one here in the center. Awfully close to the sun. I wonder how warm this surface of this planet is. Let's find out. I honestly don't know how much actual effect any of this. It's negative 118 degrees. That seems, I don't know, seems a little odd, although it says it is at 1.15 astronomical units, so it's slightly further away from the star than Earth is, but it still seems a little weird to me. But let's grab some more of this stuff, because as any building site anywhere across planet Earth can tell you, you can never have too much copper. Yeah. Okay. So we're about to make our way over here into Zokfot space. Now, they did tell us which one of their stars was the... was their main star, but I can't actually remember which one it was because I didn't write it down. Let's try Beta, because that's going to allow us to fly right through the middle of all of their space. And we're going to do our save game again. However, this time, considering we're probably about to fight a thing, let's go for a fresh one. Mis-centered keys on the keyboard. My worst nightmare. All right. Let's do this. We'll face it bravely, folks, and we'll face it together. Show us your worst hyperspace anomaly. Alright, so there's the alarm. Will it be anything exotic or will it be more of the same? It is more of the same, but let's have a chat to them. This probe is non-hostile. Do not attack. Sure. Is there something wrong? We seem to be miscommunicating. According to internal monitors, there are no malfunctions. Priority override, new behavior dictated. Must break target into component compounds. So there we have it. What to do. These things just have to come in so close and we can't get any more of them. So let's do this one. We're not off to a great start because once we're in close, we're in a world of hurt. We're in a world of hurt. Yep, there we go. Farewell, Woo. Sorry about that. It was perhaps an unwise choice. Although this also is not going to go well because we just have so few crew. Maybe it's time to bring out the big guns. Let's see how this goes. Not terribly well, but we do have a fairly large sponge of crew to soak up. And it is nice to see the word dank over there on the side. All right. Just getting a few good hits in there. Slightly low on crew. That battery's recharging at a reasonable rate. Would be nice to have some bigger range on these things, but so be it. Probably should have used this thing to begin with, but in the grand scheme of things, I think we'll be all right. Whoa, awfully close to the planet there. Making sure we kill our inertia so we don't crash into it by accident. So we did it and we, we lost a lot of things. Whoops. I am very much out of practice at playing this. Anyway, we're flying through Zoc Fot Pick space. There's some shadows here on the map. I'm going to assume that that could be aforementioned Zoc Fot Pick. We're probably going to be able to zip past them because the speed of these things does appear to be correlated to how rapidly the ships can move. Was this the star system that we were supposed to head to? I'm not entirely sure. Presumably, we would be seeing something here if that were the case. So maybe we will just duck back out quickly. They're all converging on us, so clearly there's things here that wanted to chat with us. Let's hope that it is them. And maybe they can tell us where we're supposed to go again. Things are taking a bad turn here on April Fool's Day, folks, because I know what those ships are, and they're not Zoc Fot Pick. These are indeed the Ur-Quan, who would be the big bads of this entire thing. So I've made a giant boo-boo. But I think I've unintentionally also created an excellent cliffhanger because that is all the time we have for this part of the Let's Play. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the episode, please give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe to the channel if you'd like to be notified when other episodes are released. And you can also please tell a friend if you think they might enjoy this. And come back again soon for more Star Control 2.